Go round to I say, Mama Seta, Ashidu, Ashite, Ashu on vibrations, every baka. May your mind, buckas, and souls be old. May your armaments be sound. May your buckas be leaven off ground. When we keep to the breath, the orth, the mothor, the seon, the soul of Ra guides and keeps you all. Ayanma, I say Ra, Elai, say El, say I. Christ Ore Chaplain Tata Amin Ra. I am Truth Awareness. True Talk can be a part of the greatest transfer of Ma-Elf, that's intelligence, Aminology to Angodu. This is Sound Logic, and with all that being offered to you, being a fool is absolutely your choice. To Ray is Ray 1859. That is a 5 on the Gematria. That is a ka on the sound command. Go to Google, go to Apple, download the Kagadora app, go to Jesus.com, sign up, get the iBucket to Omen, get the Mathorian Kagadora poster. Better yet, click the link. It takes you to AminRa.com, our Shopify store. Order the poster to your door. That's the 18 by 24 Mathorian Kagadora. And while you're there, check out the apparel. Download the books. Wear what the devils fear. I don't consent to draconian state, nor should you hashtag that in your post. Thought is a spore that spawns intelligence, then a fungi.org. Your mental health is directly connected to your etheric compass. You got to orientate yourself back to sound. That's a solarization. Courses to coaching that we have at savbysound.com, jesus.com. You also get access to the erectionary.com because the words of the dictionary die your erection. There we're learning the Ta'angodu sound logic decoding search engine. We speak sound. That's what Ta'angodu is all about. This is the Crypto Shit Shower Report, where we remind you that the blockchain is not a financial umbrella that you could hold and prevent shit from head. Well, we can see on the hour that BTC is on the way back up. Maybe it's going to reach the 95,000 cell zone. How am I coming up with this 95,000 threshold that once it gets above that, I'm going to start recovering profits? Well, let's just go to the Kagadora, because this is what it's all about. Recognize and realize that the Draconians run off of a parasite program, that software that operates your hardware, your brain. Okay? Your brain is biologically, genetically wired to operate by its senses, not by eyesight. Okay? So, when you recognize and realize that the parasite is parallel to sound, then you realize that a parasite can only affect a thing if it's attached to it. If it's attached to it, then the programs can manipulate the thoughts. The sounds that it hears can be converted by words that are symbols that operate by your eyesight. Okay? So we go by emotion. And as this moves, we can now recognize how the parasite operates. Because when we're elevating high, it wants to extract our energy. Okay, so it doesn't want our good energy. If that was the case, then we wouldn't have a parasite. It wants our misery. Okay, it wants our disconnected from the ether. Okay, it wants our death. Okay, it doesn't want us to move. It wants our motion. It wants to keep us still. Okay, so you could see out of 5, 1 and 8 is 9. 5 and 9 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5. We have 9 we have 5. So in order for the blockchain to continue to be used as a manipulation machine, a vacuum, okay, for your energy, it has to be parallel. It has to simulate. In order to be parallel and simulate and have a mask operating as the ether, as the sound, operating under that, what is a false authority we recognize now, it has to produce. It has to be what it says it was meant to do. Okay? And in this specific case, the blockchain is sold, number 1, to increase your financial investment. Number 2, it was sold as some form of financial safety net, some kind of, hedge against inflation and, all the bad things that the markets offer, right? It's supposed to be, some currency that, humanity can use, free of draconian, restrictions, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we know that's all BS now. Okay, we know that's all BS. The very same draconians that are trying to sell you these privacy coins and all these types of, they own every route. Okay? You don't go shopping for groceries in a toilet and not expect shit. Okay? So this is what I'm trying to impress upon you. That the blockchain is not a financial umbrella that you can hold and prevent shit from going splat on your head. Because that canopy that's supposed to, stop the water, which you call rain, from falling on your head, that's called a Ba-Ra-El. Okay? So it's It tells you that it's an So that means there's no thought. There's no thought because it's It's not Okay, it's It literally is a U, is an O with the top of the O cut off, which represents the head. So if it has no head, it has no brain. So it goes what was that? Isn't that sound that we are programmed when we don't understand something, when we don't have a thought? When we don't have an answer, we go, we were programmed to make that sound. Okay? We were programmed. So I'm trying to use the blockchain as another avenue to deprogram, deconstruct the symbolic, optical communication with your brain. Okay, with that, we could recognize and realize that this has to go to 95,000 because it's a simulation. Okay, it's a simulation, right? When you say you're blessed by God because you got a raise in your job, okay, or you're blessed by God because your cryptocurrency went up, right? Or you're blessed by God because you won in your sports event. Or you accept your loss because you say it's God's will, right? Someone shoots you. Like, what I'm trying to say is this God is this system. It belongs to draconian stuff, okay? And so this God in the system is against Ba'am. It's against sound. It's against radiance, which we call Ra, the Seon. Okay? You got that. So there's something that God fears. There's something that God obstructs you from. Okay, the Mithorian Kagedora is the thought line, is the timeline of what the Draconians are in opposition to. Okay, so in order for them to keep pace with this, to stand with this, to operate in place of this, okay, they have to, provide what this is providing. Okay? And so when we are in we look at this as a pump, a well that is being primed. Okay, I made reference to the male body part, the ejaculation, the whole thing for us to try to visualize and get a sense for what I'm trying to impress upon you. Okay, so how this is formatted when we have numbers from 1 to 5. Okay, this is bringing the pump up. Okay, so 1 is recovering from 9. Okay, 9 is when we get paid. Okay, 1's is recovering. It's like after you blow your load, you're in a recovery mode. You're in awe mode. Okay, all right, and so this is what 1 is usually used for. Okay, so if you're getting a dump on a 9, you're going to continue to get a little dump on a 1. Okay, but 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s is easy for the system to manipulate up or down because they are not under the pressure of the magnetic field. Okay, when they reach 6, 7, 8, and 9, this is the high pressure. Okay, so by the time you're into 7s and 8s and 9s, the price is going to be the highest that you're going to get during the 7, 8, and 9. So that means the highest during that cycle. Okay, and it's also going to become the lowest because it's also going to see the bottom because this is how they take from your value. Okay, so today we're at 5. Right, another thing the Kagadora is good for is for seeing events in advance. Okay, we called the 1807 Donald Trump validated by coming out and making the insurrection statement that he wants to bring back the Insurrection Act that allowed for civil war. Okay, so we know that in the year 1867, after 1807 Insurrection Act was put into place, the Civil War, okay, was announced. Not saying that there wasn't shit happening before, but they literally announced a civil war. They said we are at war. Okay, in the year 1867. Okay, so I chose that date as a date where we're going to have a market crash by this date. Okay, understand that. Okay, I said look out for events, representing any type of event to extract, the mass energy. Okay, some kind of happening that they can say, oh, this is a black swan event. Okay, the only way this is not going to happen is because for the last 60 days I've been saying to watch out for this, to be aware for this. Okay, specifically in the markets, I said they have until this date to mark the market up. Okay, to this date to mark it up. Okay, after this date, whatever happens, happens. It's their cycle, but I'm telling you, they're using this as a pivotal point in their cycle, 1867. Whatever they plan to do, that's their plan. Okay, but we're aware that something's coming. So by being aware, we're removing the opportunity for their plan to have the impact of secrecy, the impact of a black swan. Okay, we're going to be fully aware that it was a caused event. Okay, it is not an act of source. It's not a sound event. Okay, it was a manufactured event. Okay, it was harm and more war upon Mothor, Orth. All right. Okay, so the expectation is that they have to bring the markets up to Ray to 95. Tomorrow it's going to be 96. The Ray after that is Wednesday. It's going to be 97,000. Okay, it's going to keep going up because the ether is continuing to go up. Okay, so either they're going to get rid of this whole entire blockchain, which I said is a strong possibility, because if they want to pull off their alien invasion and there's an etheric god here that's changing the world and make da 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 da, they're not going to be able to have, it's not going to be logical that they're going to allow for this type of gambling and all these types of shit. At least they're going to make it not not visible to the public. All right? And if and when this thing skyrockets in value like they continue to promise that it is going to, it is only going to be when they completely control the on and off rails to your funds. So meaning you can't get on Google, your local phone carrier, everything is going to be organized, orchestrated, cooperated so that you have to have a vaccine, not just the digital ID. The digital ID is COVID, the certificate of verification identification document. Okay, that's the digital. That's the digital proof that you've been vaccinated, which will be backed up by scans. You go to any thing where it has a body scan, they'll be able to tell. They probably even have apps. They can point their phone or some device at any part of your body and they need to see your blood illuminated. When your blood has those markers, then you're property of Lucifer. Okay? That's when your crypto is going to be worth a shitload of money, but in your eyes, okay? Because all it is just digital shit. All right? So anybody who's a soul, anybody who's a sound being, you need to be using cryptocurrency as a lily pad, as a stepping stone. Right? You want to increase your money so you can buy land, you can buy your business, you can operate independently of the system. Just like the system used you to build and do all its stuff so it one day can operate independent of your consent, of your permission, right? It wants to completely have autonomy over you, so it doesn't need you to permit you. It just operates you. And for most of you, you're already in that stage and state of being already. Okay, you are simulating a life form. Okay, but you have no say in what you do. Because if you did, you all would be with sound logic. You would all be supporting what I am doing and we would be living as souls. Okay? You got that. All right? So that's the crypto shit shower update for today. We know that Bitcoin only has a few more days before it reaches number 9. Okay, so this would be a good week if it wanted to mark it up in lieu of